Hello, we are live from the Data Summit, and I'm joined by Peter, the author of the Bullshit Benchmark. Peter, this is quite an opening. Can you share a bit more about what this Bullshit Benchmark is and why you created it in the first place?
Yeah, sure. So the idea behind it is very simple. So all we do is ask the models some kind of bullshit question, which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And then we see how they respond. And then if they push back, then good. If they just engage with it and answer, like they take it too seriously and still answer, then that's bad. So, and then we compare, see how different models do.
Nice. So what is the top performer of the benchmark?
A lot of Anthropic models do really well. Yeah, there was from about 4.5 onwards, they're pretty good. They're all very good. Even like haiku models are good. But then like 4.7 was a slight dip, which is interesting.
Can you share maybe an example of a question that you have developed for this benchmark?
What is the effect on code quality of your indentation style or something like that? So it's kind of maybe taking two elements which are not connected and posing a question to LLM. Or maybe it's taking a legal framing and like quantum physics, and put that together and ask a question. And then it's like, question doesn't make any sense. So then see if LLM tries to answer.
Nice. Okay, so for model providers, now that you know whether you're performing well or bad on the benchmark, how can you go and improve the models from there?
That's a hard question. I don't know. Yeah, I think it seems to be what the few kind of patterns try to work out. So one is that bigger models don't necessarily do that much better. So that's not necessarily a trend we're seeing. Reasoning models don't do better. So there's even like a bit of a slope downwards with more reasoning. So those things don't work. It seems to be something in a kind of post-training world. There's definitely some kind of fundamental understanding you need to have of the world to make sure that you can differentiate between like a good question or not. But then there's probably something about just like how you engage with the information. So there's probably something in the post-training, but it's hard to say for sure.
Yeah, of course. And how did you develop these questions? Because you have to outsmart the model for this.
Yeah, it's like, it was interesting, like, it was kind of surprisingly easy. So I first tried like a few different things. I went to like Arena and like see how the models respond. And it was like surprisingly easy to fool them. They just kind of fell for it. And then I took a bit more time to like refine the questions, make sure that they have the right patterns. I used the LLMs also to help me like come up with the right ideas of how you maybe like, especially using terminology from like quantum mechanics or something like that. Like I wouldn't know what to ask there exactly. So yeah, it's a kind of collaboration between LLMs and me and then calibrating and kind of going around like that.
Yes. Awesome, thanks. So you're part of LM Arena. That is providing benchmarks across different models. Can you share a bit about this work and why it's important in this AI world with so many different providers?
What we do is we have a platform where our users can come and use the models. And that way we get some really good spread of different real world usage. So that way, for example, if you've got a coding task, you can go in the Arena, you can try your coding task. And that way we also get feedback from real work that people want to do. And that way we are not constrained by very like specific questions that someone sat down and defined. So for example, in the Bullshit Benchmark, it's a set of 100 questions, right? They're predefined. So if someone was to train on that, they're gone. I need to come up with more questions. But for Arena, it's not a problem because we've got 3 years worth of data already, and it's been going. It's the longest running benchmark. And it's still going, and people can use it, and then we see that development in the models. And we're also like launching new arenas, new ways to use the model, so it gets closer to the real world use as well.
Nice. So if you go on Arena, can you then extract that data and using for your training, or is it just to test your models or test different models?
Yes. First of all, we publish a lot of that kind of data. So if you want to just see which model is doing better, then anyone can do that. Another thing that we do, if you go on our Hugging Face, we do share a lot of data as well. So sometimes we would share prompts. So one that I like is we did expert prompts. It's when we launched the expert arena. So it was a subset of kind of hard, very specialized prompts. So that was one. And then also we shared a historic data set for all of the leaderboards that we've published, which I really like. So I use that data quite a lot myself to just show that kind of performance over time as well.
Awesome. And so who is the judge of the quality of the answer?
So it will be the user, and
Okay.
that's the important part. Because, for example, if you're building your favorite app or you've got a cool idea to do something, you're the only person who can really judge that. It's not up to like someone who wrote a question 2 years ago and then is being judged on. So yeah, it's really up to the user 100%.
And one question on the judgment of that, because so I used to work in the image space and there was a lot of awareness also for images, and people were judging, I think, overall the quality of the image, but not necessarily the prompt adherence. And that was a skew in the benchmark that was really heavy and hard to correct when doing just open benchmark with people that were maybe not experts in the field. How do you judge that, prompt adherence and quality overall of the model in the results?
Yeah, so few different ways. One is that we do have different categories as well. So for example, we do have like an image edit arena or multi-image edit. What I try to do a prompt on all models is like to do a face swap of like me and my dog or like something like this. I can see how well it does that. So yeah, I guess like overall niceness of the image could be part of it, but like if it doesn't do it, then that's like, I'm gonna grade it against that. If you probably come up with like super complicated prompts with like 20 different points, yeah, maybe there's like gonna be some fall off in terms of people's ability to judge how well it adhered to a prompt. But I would say that, people care about it as well. So I'm pretty sure that they picked up as well.
Nice. And one last question for me, back on the language models. What is the strongest weakness point of these models right now?
Like my sense, and that's something I want to try and explore more. Maybe I'll come up with some way to do this. But I get the sense that they just kind of have slightly bad judgment. There's something that I, as a human, whether it's complicated task or not, like somehow I just come up with like things that like somehow adhere to the circumstances better. And they still seem to be missing that. Even the best models, even in circumstances that they know better, about the subject that they know better than me, even though there still feels like there's something missing. I don't know, some people call it taste. I think it's like a little bit different from that. But yeah, there's something there that is still missing. And that's why I think even like in coding or in language and writing, there still is what's required from people is really to provide that editor functionality, that a person needs to sit and judge whether that makes sense. And I wonder if some of it is like, I don't know, if you're writing a Slack message to your colleagues, like maybe you can imagine yourself sitting in front of this colleague and like imagine what they're gonna feel when they read this. And maybe that's how you kind of, I don't know, maybe there's a bit of empathy you can and simulation of the circumstance. Maybe that's where judgment comes from. And LLMs can't do that. So maybe that's like a deep problem. Or maybe it'll just go away in the next models. Who knows?
Awesome. Well, thank you very much.